Hello, thank you for listening to this episode of the Moore's October Rants. Today's rant is going to be titled, Your Own Best Friend, because I've realized living this life that a lot of the time, we have to be our own best friend in the world, you know? At the end of the day, we have ourselves and no one but ourselves, and it's very important to realize that at the end of the day, we have to love ourselves. We have to be our own best friend, especially when we're going through times where everyone seems to be letting us down and we have no one that's there for us. Because when you really think about it, the only person you have at the end of the day is yourself. All you can do is rely on yourself. You know, no one is going to be there for you when you're laying in that bed. So that's why it's so important to be your own best friend, because when you really think about it, no one is going to be your friend unless you are friends with yourself. And I know that can be hard to understand, but how can you expect anybody logically to be your friend when you don't want to be a friend to yourself? It's kind of like, if you can't love yourself, how do you expect anyone else to love you? And, you know, it's the same concept. And, you know, it's really important to be your own best friend. And I see people that just go around all day and all night, and they'll talk about, you know, how they hate themselves. And they'll talk about how they don't really like themselves that much. But you have to live with yourself every single day. And I'm trying to think of what's the average lifespan in America, like 75 years or something like that. 77 years. You have to live with yourself for 77 years. You have to get up and get dressed and go to bed with yourself for 77 years on average. So disliking yourself and not liking who you are and, you know, having self-hatred for who you are, logically speaking, what is that going to do for you? You know, not liking yourself is not going to make your life any easier. You should love yourself and, you know, understand that, you know, you're your own best friend at the end of the day. You know, you can always count on yourself. You can always talk to yourself. You can always be there for yourself. And, you know, self-love is very important. And I feel like a lot of the time when people get into relationships, they don't work because people don't love themselves. People don't know how to make themselves their own best friend. And then they can't figure out, you know, like, probably making all these stupid sounds. Sometimes it happens when I'm trying to figure out what to say, but, you know, it's the beauty of live audio. But, you know, they don't know how to figure out why their relationships don't work because they don't know how to love themselves. They don't know how to be their own best friend. So how are you going to be a best friend to somebody else? And you may feel like it's easier to love someone else or be someone else's best friend when you can't be your own best friend. But eventually that's going to come back to bite you. And it's going to show, like, the reasons why you can't be friends with someone else will show because you're not friends with yourself. And, you know, for me, I've realized, you know, I've been my own best friend in many different situations. And I've realized also that over the years, you know, like I've said, I've realized that at the end of the day, all I do have is myself. You know, someone could let me down. Someone could, you know, really make me disappointed. But, you know, at the end of the day, I go home, I lay down, I put my head on my pillow and I sleep and I'm with myself. So it's really good to feel comfortable with who you are. It's really good to be comfortable with yourself. But anyways, thank you for listening to this episode of the Moore's October Rant. Signing out. Have a good one.